Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Victory Brewing Company. I'm pretty sure I've done a review of their beer before, but maybe I haven't. I should have looked before this, but honestly I didn't. They're out of Downingtown, Pennsylvania. I don't want to say one of the original because I don't know who started when exactly, but Victory has been around for a pretty long time. When it comes to the age of craft beer in the United States. And they are now part of a larger conglomerate with Southern Tier and Six Point. Which it is what it is. I don't care for Southern Tier that much, or even Six Point that much, but Victory still makes some pretty good beers. And I think, from what I've heard, it's not really like a giant company like InBev buying one of them. Southern Tier and Victory were already kind of the same size, so it's kind of like Cigar City and Oscar Blues combining. It's not like one is dictating the other one. They were already kind of the same size anyway. So, they have their Java Cask, which is a big Imperial Stout with coffee, bourbon barrel aged. I'm a huge fan of that. So it's called Java Latte. So I think this is basically a smaller version of that without being barrel aged. It says cold brew milk stout, and it's 8.2 ABV. And it says the additions are lactose and coffee. Hops are experimental HBC 472. See that is interesting to me a little bit. Like these experimental hops, usually you see them used just in IPAs because they're usually always being crossbred to be like super juicy or whatever. So I'm surprised to see it in a beer like this, but who knows? So I'm gonna crack it open and see what we got. I have not had this before. I actually bought this in Pittsburgh. Not that you can get Victory down here, but there's a Victory Southern Tier location here, but I hadn't seen it here on the shelves. I just bought it up there because I saw it and I was like, why not? Since I'm here, and I probably would have bought it down here anyways if I saw it down here, but I wanted to grab it since it was right in front of me. And I always like to try any new Victory beer unless it's something like a style that I just know I probably won't like that much. But when they do like this thing, or if they do a new Pilsner or anything like that, I'm all for it. So, it's a very dark brown color. I mean, it's almost black, but not completely. With a pretty nice, fluffy, about a finger's worth of beige head. So it is a very it's definitely not like espresso type coffee. It's a very like lighter, like nutty aroma. A little bit of that metallic character that I get from some coffee stouts. There is some like earthy or floral like hop character to it too. Yeah, it smells I don't want to say it smells amazing because there's nothing that necessarily stands out, but I would say it smells pretty expected for what the beer is. So we'll see what it tastes like. Huh. So that is really interesting. Because it doesn't have that much coffee flavor. If you just told me this is like a random 8.2% stout that Victory made, I would completely believe it. Uh, that's not to say that it's bad. It's actually very good. But the coffee flavor is really minimal. Like the roasty character that it has, I would definitely think that it was just from the beer itself. It's also not very like silky, like a milk stout usually is. So I think that's part of it too. That's throwing me off a little bit. Yeah, and I said it was in the aroma too, but I thought maybe I was just crazy. But even in the flavor, there's like this earthy um, hop character that I think is kind of overshadowing the coffee a little bit, which I don't have a problem with that as a beer overall, but I think it's kind of weird given this is, like really look at the marketing on this. And I would expect buying this that it's going to be pretty coffee forward, and it's really not. But as an overall beer, I think it's really good. You know, I was thinking of what this reminded me of. So I made a beer last year for a homebrew competition. It was supposed to kind of be like a clone recipe or something similar to 1050 um, with coffee, and the hop schedule, like the hop. So there was the bittering hops, which of course makes sense for the stout, but then there was what I would consider a pretty aggressive hop schedule, like at 15 or 10 minutes. Um, but I followed it because I was like, okay, that's what the recipe is. We'll see how it is. And the beer was pretty good overall, but it just had like this lingering hop flavor, which if it's a base stout and you're not adding coffee, I think that makes sense. But for something that you're adding coffee to, I just really don't think that makes sense. So I was like, I really liked the everything about the beer that I had made besides that hop character. If I didn't add coffee, then I might just say it was kind of like a hoppy imperial stout. But that's not what it was. So it was kind of disappointing to me. It still tasted good, but it was just not what it should have been. And this is kind of reminding me of that. Like, it has that really earthy, hoppy bitterness in the back end, and that's just not really what I'm expecting or wanting in a coffee beer. Overall, it's not bad. I mean, it's a hoppy 8.2% stout. It's roasty, but I don't even get much hop flavor. Yeah, I don't know. It's really it actually is a really good beer, but I think it's kind of mislabeled. I think they missed the mark a little bit for what I would expect for something called Java Latte. So on my scale of buy, drink, dump, I'm just gonna give this a drink. There's nothing that really stands out about it. It's a really well made beer in general, but it just kind of doesn't fit any niche. I don't niche is a wrong word because that sounds like I only like weird things. It just doesn't really fill any beer need that I might want. If I want a really coffee forward beer, I'm not going to go for this. If I want a really big stout, I'm not going to go for this. If I want a beer that doesn't have coffee at all, it's just like a middle of the road, slightly higher ABV stout, I'm still probably not going to go for this because I think there's other things that are a little tighter that don't have the coffee that might be a little more like roasty in general that I might like better. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that's kind of floating in beer purgatory where it doesn't really hit any specific mark. There's nothing wrong with it. Overall, it's kind of a good beer, but it's just not really what I want. So please like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I look forward to the next one. Thanks.